All right, so yeah, I started in 2012. I started a company called Choreographic Productions. I've been a musician, a traveling musician since 2003. And I spent a lot of time on the road. In 2009 through 2012, I lived out in San Diego, and I was driving a lot back and forth from Mammoth Mountain, playing gigs up there, through Los Angeles. Spent a lot of time on the road, and I felt like it was lost time. All the radio stations would go in and out, in and out. I invested in Sirius Satellite Radio to educate myself with shows that I was really interested in, and that ended up being a bad investment. So I went to podcasting. And I started listening to podcasts back in 2005. A guy by the name of Adam Curry from MTV created them. I would play a gig, and then I'd start cleaning buildings at 2 o'clock in the morning until about 5. That's how I made a living. And I'd be listening to shows that really felt like developed me. When I came back into town, I have a studio in my basement. I started a business producing podcasts, not just to say something, but I wanted to have an actual current show locally that you could stay up to date with, that gave you like real opinions from professionals. I didn't want to do podcasting for just people who just wanted to shoot the shit. But that's actually what I did to start. That's how I had to learn. So I started a show called Drink My Brewcast. Drink My Brewcast is a craft beer show. We worked out the kinks for about a year, and then I started to get some referrals from some other clients, like the Filling Station Microbrewery, and then I landed Shorts Brewing Company. Now you're seeing a trend with brewing companies because they were the only ones who were interested at the time. They had a ton of content, they had a ton to talk about. So they talked about every single beer they had, they talked about every single event they had, and they had really honest, open discussions about how hard it was to start a business. It wasn't just like, oh, this is great, this is the life. They gave you really good stories about how to start a business in Northern Michigan. We're talking about a brewery that is the 3rd largest distributor of craft beer in the state of Michigan. It's in Bel Air. And they're telling everybody how to do this through their podcasts. They have about 4,000 downloads a month, and they're doing very well. We'll move on to the first slide. So I've discovered over the last couple of years that podcasting is a versatile tool. It's not just something that you read about with guys like John Lee Dumas and Entrepreneur on Fire. There's a ton of business podcasts out there. But what it really is, it allows you to get information from the source, which is you or your company. And if you really have a passion about it, if you really know what you're talking about, then it's going to come through in your dialogue. And I really wanted to learn what was about. I guess I was craving more than just a couple articles, or I guess I wanted more time with the people who were delivering their message. So that's another thing about podcasting is there's no time limits. You can do a 6-minute one, you can do an hour, 2 hours, and you can get a lot of information in there. We'll go next. Here's my clients. Right now I have 14 clients. Tomorrow I start with Crowd Financial. I work about 60 hours a week with these guys. My biggest client is My Local Hops, which is My Local Investments. I have no debt. I built this business from my basement. And a couple of these clients, this one is in the UK. He uploads his work to Dropbox. I have 2 guys that work overnight. They take the show, they cut out all the ums, they cut out all the dead air, they do really cool production work to it. They get a show, they put it back in Dropbox about 72 hours later, and then he has a product to post on the next slide, which is the platforms. So you've got iTunes, Stitcher Radio, Google Play now is in the mix, SoundCloud, Overcast, Spotify, and Pandora have just become in the mix. These are great platforms for you to be talking about what you're really good at, and to just be talking about things that your business is doing or events that you've got coming up. It's just a great way to start a conversation. We'll go next. What makes a good podcast is honesty and chemistry. I like to see people get into a room who've worked together for a long time. I like to see people who can joke with each other. You know, that really adds a lot. It's not just putting one guy behind a microphone who's kind of feeling it out. He's not talking to anybody. You can see a good dialogue going off. But if you have like people in the room who've been working together for years and years and years, that is priceless. And those are the people that young entrepreneurs, that's who we should be learning from. Those are really good conversations. And podcasting allows that. Next one. Podcasting is cool. It really is. It's trending. It's getting better and better. If you haven't listened to shows like Serial, which is the big one, there's a reason why it's good. I mean, there's a reason why people are listening to it. It is really good. If you haven't listened to Radiolab, you got to check it out. If you haven't listened to if you like sports, listen to the Bill Simmons podcast, because the thing about it is you don't have to sit in front of a computer screen and watch the content. You can put it on your phone. You can hit the trails. You can get in a boat. You can go mow your lawn. You can do all this stuff, and it's just a great multitasking learning tool. So I'm not asking for anything. I guess what I am asking for is for people to check it out. If you're interested in podcasting, I'd love to talk to you about it. I do consulting. I do work with the businesses. I am hiring, but I'm also hiring guys that are patient, who listen, and gals, and are willing to work crazy hours. So.
How do you make money?
You're providing service for somebody. So we do charge. We do have rates. That we do have packages. Every client is different. Sometimes we have to take a risk and say, this person is really good at what they do. And on top of that, you're selling, most of the shows sell advertising space. That's where they make money. We make money in providing the service. So
the podcaster over in England winds up selling advertising to go along with it. Is that the idea?
that's exactly it. But he's also using it, he's a consultant, so he's also using it as a tool to show that he actually knows what he's talking about. So what it also opens up avenues is he's got, the thing about the UK guy is, this is a real challenge. The guy's got a stutter. All right, he doesn't talk very well, so we have to continuously edit and clean his stuff up to make him sound really good. But he also gets some of the top e-commerce businesses to come on his show, CEOs, marketing directors. It's amazing. They look at him as an authority, but really it's just this guy sitting in his closet doing the show. But he's the only one doing an e-commerce show on how Amazon really works.
Have you ever looked at educational institutions like colleges or high schools or anything like that?
Have I looked at it?
Well, right, because a lot of the colleges are becoming very concerned about education being available on the internet and either going through podcasts, or MIT is broadcasting their classes for free.
Well, that's kind of up to them. I mean, I would rather...
Running the program for them, though, that's what I'm asking. Have you ever looked at it?
We have. I've had 2 interns from the audio tech program. From NMC, I've worked with Pat Nima still a little bit, but really, I mean, honestly, right now, kids at that age, I hate to say this, but they don't have the patience yet, where they can sit and listen to dialogue or listen to an actual business conversation, really take it in. The audio tech kids are really into music, so that's mostly, I put them into writing music for the shows or getting them involved, working as like a music supervisor for a movie or a documentary. That's really honestly what I've been doing, especially with shorts. It's like building a documentary through audio.
So they record this in your studio, or?
I have a versatile package where I do have a mobile unit. So majority of the time, I'd say 70% of the time, I go to the place of business, set up in their office, and record the show. There's a lot of great audio editing tools out there that can reduce things. Like with shorts, we have to do it in their bottling production facility, which is like the worst thing for an audio guy. But there's a ton of tools out there that really can make the audio nice and clean. And it sounds more authentic, I mean, to be honest.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
Sorry, I'm behind the stand. Do you ever work with your clients from a content standpoint, like content marketing, strategies? A lot of times can include things like podcasting. Like, do you work with them from a strategy standpoint or a content standpoint, or are you purely the technical?
Usually what happens is in the first 10 to 15 episodes, I'm highly involved in the content of the show. Usually they'll have a lot of questions, like, how should I present this? Or what kind of format are we going for here on this show? Or I want to do a topic about this. And I do steer them a lot, but the fun part of it is watching them kind of learn on their own of how they really want to do their own show. And I show them how to do that, and then it just kind of takes off from there. Then you're just strictly providing the service of giving them the audio equipment, dealing with all the other audio problems. Like I've had to record shows in hot air balloons, boats, all these crazy situations. And I wasn't going to bring the product to anybody yet. I'm not looking for more clients because I wanted to have those experiences. I wanted to be able to go to clients and say, like, I've had this problem before, I know how to fix it, and that's what you're paying for. You're paying for me to have that experience to make it happen.
You have your own podcast?
I am involved in the Drink My Brewcast show. I came on, I was just a producer of the show, and then I came on as a host. I was thinking about doing one in 2016, but I've got a lot going on. Like I said, tomorrow we start with Prout Financial. We got a couple other clients that are very interested in starting, and it's kind of where it's at right now. It's kind of where I got to be at. I wouldn't mind doing a podcast, so I wouldn't mind actually doing a book, a digital book on it.